My project is on people pleasers, specifically the difference between people pleasers and just kind people. If you don't know anything about people pleasers, the simple definition is a person who puts others' needs before their own for many different reasons, but it's a form of dependency on other people for love and validation. So if we're going to understand the difference between people pleasing and being kind, I'll define kindness first, which obviously you know what being kind is, but it's motivated by showing gratitude and just a form of self-expression, and people that are kind can feel satisfied in their acts without any extra rewards like getting credit or any favors in return. Both kind people and people pleasers will do obvious acts of kindness that you would see, like complimenting people, donating to anyone, or just lending things to their friends, helping with others, spending time with others, being polite, any acts of kindness that are common. But the difference is mostly in the motivation between people pleasing and being kind. People pleasers are kind because they desire acceptance, bonds, praise, and reassurance. They're avoiding abandonment, rejection, judgment, and conflict, and they overall want to be liked by other people. And they use acts of kindness to get that. There was a really good example in one of my sources with characters named Pete, Tony, and Pete's girlfriend Donna. Pete was nice to his girlfriend's mom, but he was upset that she didn't thank him for that, but didn't say that she noticed it or anything. But Tony was confused. Why does that mean she doesn't like you? Because I've done tons and she's done nothing, but what did you ask her for? So he was nice to her mom just so she would like him, and now he's resentful towards her because he assumed he was entitled to a reward for being nice. And since he's a people pleaser, he's not gonna confront the problem. He's just gonna slowly leave the relationship. The difference in their actions, which are some things that people pleasers do that kind people won't necessarily do. They are often seeking validation. They can tell white lies so that people aren't upset by their answers to them. They always comply to others. They peacemake, over-apologize, don't put the blame on anyone else. They do a lot of self-sacrificing by being selfless, and they adapt to how others are acting. So signs you're a people pleaser if you do those things, if you have a hard time saying no, value others' opinions a lot, you internalize guilt, or you believe being selfish is bad. Anything I stated before. So I did take a survey on kids in our school. I'm pretty sure everyone here took it to see how many students in the middle school were technically people pleasers by using Dr. Breaker's questionnaire. If you don't remember, all the boxes were statements that people pleasers would most likely agree with, and we were mostly in the mid to lower range in our school. So the top 3 agreed with statements were: 1, I believe nice people get approval, friendship, and affection; 2, I feel guilty saying no to others; and 3, acknowledging my negative feelings to myself is easier than expressing them to others. So I wanted to look back into why people act like this, other than just the motive, how they're kind of made to feel that way. So I asked one of my experts, Dr. Sorensen, and she said that many people are socialized to be people pleasers because we're all taught as children to be nice or do things that other people tell us to, which is sometimes taught explicitly or subtly through getting praise for complying and punishment for not complying. But there's also a genetic factor that I looked into it, because we still do, but it used to be very crucial to have a group to stay alive. So that got passed down, and now people use people pleasing to get into a group. And I also went on a little tangent on one of the factors, which is negativity bias, which is our natural higher response to negative stimuli than positive, which is based on needing to survive and react to danger. So the effects of being a people pleaser, specifically the negative ones, because people pleasers do usually accomplish being seen as a nice person, but they also become resentful, and they have a passive aggressive way of showing feelings. They can have burnout, stress, they are easily taken advantage of, they can have a lack of identity, dishonest relationships, and feel indecisive. And kindness effects that don't apply to people pleasers are just like the hormones like gaining dopamine, serotonin, cortisol. So I'll sum up each little part. I know it was a little fast, but people pleasers' motives are wanting to be liked and avoid negativity. Kind people are just expressing love, care, and gratitude. The actions, people pleasers are being selfless, seeking reassurance, and adapting to other people, while kind people are doing the obvious acts of kindness that most of you would know, be speaking politely, assisting with others, the little things. The difference in effects can be people pleasers will have unhealthy coping mechanisms, relationships, and sense of identity. They can have burnout and stress, and they'll feel guilty a lot of the time for taking care of themselves. And kind people can just feel satisfied internally and have a balance of selfishness and selflessness. So to ask specifically, my expert, again, Dr. Sorensen, summarized the difference in everything with people pleasing is doing something to make someone happy and feeling resentful about it. Kindness is a quality of treatment to others. And she also added that sometimes the kindest thing to do is say no or do something that doesn't please the other person. So obviously, being a people pleaser is not a great thing for your health, mental health. So skills you can work on to stop people pleasing is being assertive, setting boundaries, trying to detect your personal emotions, self-affirmations and reassurance, noticing and ending your doubtful thoughts, and working on vulnerability. That's all the information. To reflect on the project for myself, I had already heard a lot of the signs of being people pleasers, but there are little things that I learned, like the resentment and DNA factors that I didn't know before. So I enjoyed my project overall. But I chose it initially because I knew I was already a people pleaser, and it just confirmed what I learned in my project. And of course, it can be helpful to know if you or someone else that you know is struggling with anything and how to stop it. So I have a really good quote from one of my sources to end with. It might not pertain to any of you if you're not a people pleaser, but it does help people that are. So you are just as important as everybody else, and yet many of us behave like we matter very little, if at all. We care more about others than we do about ourselves. Again, this may sound like a value you learned as a child, but it's not sustainable. You can't remain a healthy, patient, kind, energetic, caring person if you constantly give but never replenish your needs. And that's everything. Thank you. Any questions? Ambrose?
So you had mentioned